Now, as we discussed in our Design Indaba interview a little earlier, it's becoming more and more apparent that creative thinking is needed in solving social problems. The Peninsula School Feeding Association and the digital agency Hello Computer have teamed up to introduce a new brand to South Africa, a brand that encourages you to feed hungry school children by doing something that you already do every single day. Share content on your Facebook page and your Twitter feed.
We spend a lot of time sharing stuff on social media, and brands spend a lot of money buying media hoping that we'll share their content. So what if we shared something that could actually make change happen? And what if brands bought media that could make a real difference? 3 out of 4 children go hungry in South Africa every single day. High unemployment, widespread poverty, and child-headed households mean many children depend on feeding schemes for their meals. For some, it's their only meal of the day. But what if there was a way we could share meals with those who really need it by simply doing something we already do every single day? Share content. Introducing Social Feed, where the more you share, the more meals are shared with those who need them. The process is simple. Brands buy media on Social Feed and place an ad or piece of content they want shared. Each time someone shares it on their newsfeed, a meal is shared with a child in need. And since social media platforms sell our networks to brands anyway, Social Feed will now allow people to sell their own social network in order to support a good cause. Some of the country's biggest brands are now buying media with Social Feed, and the more brands' content is shared, the more children we feed. So the brands get exposure, consumers get a say in who buys their social network, and we get to feed children in need, which makes Social Feed a new way to fill up our news feeds while filling up some very hungry tummies. Why not share now?
Now, towards the end of last year, social network Facebook hitting the 100 million monthly user mark in Africa. Most of these users making use of mobile phones to log onto the platform. If anything, this has highlighted the importance for brands to develop innovative social media campaigns specifically aimed at mobile users. We spoke to Facebook Creative Head for Europe, Middle East and Africa, Rob Newlan, about this and also about the tricks to getting real-time marketing just right.
The 100 million mark is something we're very excited about at Facebook. But what's really exciting, like you said, is the high mobile penetration. 80% of that coming through on mobile, and even in South Africa, it's slightly higher than that as well. What that does mean is actually puts an onus on the market to make sure that we're developing work mobile first. It means that creative directors should be developing and signing off work through a phone, that brands and marketeers should be really pushing themselves to make sure that through both feature and smartphone we're developing great work that is really targeted through the handset. That's what's important. That's what's really understanding the craft and creativity that's appropriate to those handsets. I'm very much a future-facing person. I look forward to what the opportunity provides. I think we're in this great moment where we've got so much opportunity to use the data, the understanding, the insight to craft further better work. I think great creative is really one of the big keys for shifting for brands on Facebook. People on Facebook are coming back about 14 times every day. They're spending a lot of time there and a lot of time through mobile. So they need something which excites and delights them, something that's relevant for them. And that means for brands too. They're getting everything that matters from the people that matter to them, from the organizations that matter to them. Brands matter to people, but having something that is relevant really is what is important. I look at the ability for people to take far better consumer insight, really get better at crafting work which is relevant to the people who's receiving it. We don't now have to create one ubiquitous piece of work against a universal insight. People are offering this reciprocity. They're saying, this is who I am me, So make sure, because you understand me, you're creating something that works and is relevant for me. This isn't about us creating one thing for one person, getting down to super granular. But what I think it is a shift away from creating one universal piece of work and pushing it out there and hoping that people will respond to it. We need to start from the consumer insight. We need to start from the craft and the understanding of who they are. And then we can start to put the right thing in front of them. I think we've seen some great work from McDonald's. We worked with them across the World Cup. And during the World Cup, there were 350 million people on Facebook talking about football. So it was the World Stadium. It was this exciting space where people were really celebrating and talking about the World Cup. So McDonald's were able to understand that. On a daily basis, they were taking the play of the day and they were recreating it with fries. And fry football was this really great opportunity for us to be nimble, to respond, to be able to do something that was relevant. And the work went out to over 140 million people around the world, and including in South Africa. And we were able to take that and put it in front of the people it mattered to, the people who were watching the World Cup, the people who cared and were talking about the World Cup in those markets. And that's what I'm talking about. It's about us using data and technology to enable these very human interactions and the things that people are caring about. But real-time marketing, I think, is great. But again, we're coming from a point of relevancy. Relevancy, of course, has a layer of timeliness. Timeliness is something which I think, if you get it right, is fantastic and it is, of course, going to be very evocative. But you have to be set up to get it right. You have to have the legal people who have signed it off, the media people who are ready to take that message out to the right people, the creatives who are there and able to be nimble and listening and learning on how people are reacting to stuff. That's exciting, but it means that sometimes that's a bit of a shift in how we're organised. And organising that way enables us to craft this better work.
Finally this week, our ad of the week, and one of the pre-released Super Bowl commercials that will certainly have you reaching for the tissues. Dove Men Plus Care Real Strength is a montage of dads and their kids, ranging from toddlers to grown-ups, calling out to dad, and shows the softer side of fatherhood. It underlines the strategy, care makes a man stronger. Enough said. Well, not necessarily a new idea, but certainly a powerful and resonating piece of work, and we urge you to keep an eye on the children. They're precious. Until next time, goodbye, and thank you for watching.